Welcome. Thank you for joining us for a significant webinar today. My name is Lydia Morgan, and I am glad to serve as the COO of the Jerusalem Institute of Justice. In a world inundated with information, we recognize the need for depth and authenticity. Today, we bring you stories from the front lines. Our focus is to delve into the heart of Israel's ongoing battle for survival, offering narratives and experiences from the JIJ team. Joining me today, are three powerful women. Advocate Rotem Ben Simchon, head of JIJ's Free Legal Aid Department, who will share about one of her clients and an incredible recent victory. We will also hear from Nofar Weissman-Berman, JIJ's project manager and mother of two who recently returned from 2 months of battle. She will provide insights into the courage and determination of our soldiers. And we will also hear from Flavia Sivald, JIJ's CEO, who last week visited the site of the Nova Festival where 364 Israelis were slaughtered in one day by Hamas terrorists. I'm going to turn now to Advocate Rotem and ask you to share with us, please.
Hi, Lydia. Hi, everyone, and good evening. So, before digging into to the special case that I want to talk about, I just want to share that it means a lot to me as a lawyer in Israel to change lives. It feels like it's every story and every case that JIJ getting is so unique, so special, and you get the chance to change people's lives. And I'm going to give you a very beautiful example of a story that started very hard, very sad. And now after a long process and a long bureaucracy, we finally won, and she received the citizenship. But let's go back. So my client is originally from Eritrean. She's Eritrean, a Christian Eritrean that was till she was 12 or 13 in Eritrea, and then she moved through Egypt to Israel because of a genocide. She had a rough life there. They were very poor. They had um, a war everywhere, and she couldn't stay there, so she escaped. She escaped through Egypt, and then she found herself after um, a long journey to Israel finally, and she asked for a shelter in Israel as a refugee. And while she was here, she fell in love with an Israeli citizen, Ethiopian Israeli citizen, and they fell in love. She eventually got married to him, and they had a daughter. Now, after she was born, they found out she has autism. She's autistic girl with Down syndrome. And after that, when she was 1 year old, she got sick with cancer. She had cancer in her stomach, and they had a very difficult time to especially when she's not a citizen in Israel. She has no health insurance. She don't have any doctors that she can go to and get treatment. The good thing is that the daughter is born in Israel to an Israeli father, so she could get the medical treatment that she needed to. So they had a rough time doing the daughter. Now, not just the daughter, they started a family process in Ministry of Interior, and that's how they came to me. So they approached to JIJ to ask for help. And when I heard this story, I couldn't not crying and take the case with two hands and do the best we can to make it work and to succeed and to help her and her family to stay here. Now, she needed the help basically because he had citizenship and the daughter had citizenship. So for that, there is a special process in Ministry of Interior called family reunification. And when you start this process, then she needs to provide many of certificates that that she's supposed to bring from her origin country, and she couldn't bring the certificates because she was escaped from Eritrea. And that's why we had many problems since the beginning. Because when you submit family reunification request applications, then you need to bring marriage certificate, birth certificate, family status, if you change your name, if criminal background check, and she had nothing, zero. So we fighted. We started to fight for her, and we went there again and again and did letters and appealed and went to court. And it was hard but good. But then, unfortunately, because of the life that she had with the daughter, the husband decided to leave her and to go back to Ethiopia. And it's because of the daughter, because she's sick, because she needs a lot of a treatment, and it was too much for him, I guess. So she came one day to the office and she really cried, and I couldn't hold my tears. It was very sad to see her situation because he left her and abandoned her, and now she's with this miserable life, barely can work because she has no status in Israel. I will mention that they didn't finish the family process, so she didn't receive any status in Israel. So she was with a special visa that refugees getting in Israel, which allow them to work in a very special conditions. So except that, she had nothing. So she came to me and said, "So what should we do? I don't know what to do. I can't go back to Eritrea. It's a war zone. It's genocide." So by the way, it always now when I think about that, this is what Israel feel now, and I really can feel what she felt by this time when your country is try to in the middle of a war. And anyway, we decided that we're doing humanitarian request for her, and it means that we do a special request. We should put inside all the medical condition of the daughter and about her condition, about her life, and that she has no place to go, and that the only person that her daughter is trust and need is her mother, and her mother needs to stay here in Israel with her, and there's no other options. And it was a strong letter, and we waited till 2018. By the way, she arrived to Israel in 2008, and in 2018 we submitted the humanitarian request for her, and we waited till 2023, many years. By this time, every 6 months, we applied another letter and another letter until eventually I've decided to go back to court and just demand decision. It felt like Ministry of Interior avoiding, don't want to give their decision. They don't want to give a decision in this case. They don't want to give her a status. But I was very stubborn, and I felt that you're not going to ignore me. I will do anything I can to get a decision. And we did the request and went to court. And then eventually the court decided that they have 30 days to give a decision. And then we received a beautiful decision after we are waiting to this decision since she's waiting to the decision since 2008, saying that she deserves to get a status in Israel. and stay with her daughter in Israel. And this was wow. I mean, I really feel that I'm changing people's lives. This is what I said at the beginning, and it just every time it happens, you just feel the magic. You feel a magic in the air. And she cried, and I cried, and she came to JHJ office, and we hugged, and we were so happy. And she said, thank you for saving my life, because I can't go back to a war zone in Eritrea. I have to stay here. Now I can get support from the government. I can get doctors treatments and go to Kupat Cholim and do anything that every Israeli deserves to get, and I can keep supporting my daughter and stay here and earn my salary. And so it was a big victory for us, and it was worth it. I mean, it took years, but you have to be determined and believe and know that it's not going to be in the easy way. Nothing, you not get things in the easy way. It takes time. You need the patience, you need the strength, and just to believe, and then eventually it happens. So thank God for many more of those. And we do have, but the time is short, and there are more people that need to talk here. But I can talk for hours here and talk about more cases, maybe in the next webinar. And yeah, I'm happy for her very much. And this is our victory for this week.
Thank you so much, Rotem. It is so exciting. And when the client came to the office, she was crying, we were crying,
Yes,
we were just so excited for her. And what a gift. Like really, it's such a privilege uh to work with these kind of cases and see the victory at the end. We don't always get to do that, but this was really, really special. Rotem, I know you and your team are working very hard also with mobile clinics helping displaced and evacuated families. Can you just shortly tell us a little bit about that?
yes. So right after the 7th of October, I got phone calls from many lawyers and from the bar in Jerusalem that hosting all the lawyers in Jerusalem that they need JAJ help to go physically to the hotels where the families that evacuated from the war zone um, in the south uh, and staying there every day, all day, because they needed to leave their houses. They needed our legal help. They needed lawyers that can go and sit with them, hear their problems, support them, and get legal service. So, of course, pro bono legal aid. Me and my team went together for in I don't remember how many hotels, but
A lot.
quite a lot. Yes. So we went there. We sat there in the lobby, and those family were very. They really helped. They really waited that to see us and to sit with us and to explain their problems. Now I'll do it shortly, but there were a lot of kinds of requests and help, especially families that were afraid to go back to their houses because their shelters were um, had problems. For example, that you can't lock your shelter. You're not feel safe at your house, especially in cities like Sderot. And I don't know if you know, but Sderot was one of the cities that they went in with their vans and guns everywhere, and it was very dangerous. People hid in their houses, in the rooftops, and in garages, and it was very dangerous time. So they were afraid to go back to their houses. So we helped many families to solve these problems and get fixed, that all the shelters will be fixed so they can go back to their house and feel safe. And at the same time, people needed help to get license for guns so they can protect themselves. We have to understand that people are very afraid now after the 7th of October, and they want to feel safe again. They want to have the um, they want to protect their families, and the only way, I guess, is to have a gun or a weapon or something that can protect you, your family, and maybe someone else if you are in the middle of a street, because anything can happen now. We had orphan kids that needed help with guardianship,
Mm-hmm.
and we had people that need help with wills. Well, we had so many. And maybe just for help to get money from the government, from those families that evacuated, the government supported them by giving them money. So we helped them to get the money because it's not that easy, especially not the
Mm-hmm.
bureaucracy in Israel. So we were there for them. We went for hours every day, and it was very useful. And we were very happy and glad to do that pro bono to anyone that was in need.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I know you're at home with three little boys not feeling so good. So thank you so much for
Yes,
taking the time to spend with us this evening. Thank
of
you.
course. I wish I could
We're
have
going to
more
move now
time.
to.
Yes. Okay, so good night and thank you all. See you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Good
Bye
evening.
bye.
Bye bye.
Good. We're going to go now to Nofar Weissman Behrman. And as I said in the introduction, she is a mother of two. She's been with JIJ for, I want to say, 6 years. Is that correct, Nofar? Um,
Um,
5
almost 6
years?
years, yes. Oh,
Almost 6 years. Yes, almost 6 years. And Nofar is in a very interesting position because she is a reservist held in high esteem and got called to serve. And we want to hear about that now. Nofar.
okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to hear what we have to say and to tell you about the situation in Israel. We appreciate it a lot. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Lydia, for the introduction. I have I have a presentation because I don't want to forget anything. So let me just upload it. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, so before I go to, okay, let me go to the next slide. I'll just introduce myself as after the continuation for what Lydia said. I served in the army for almost 5 years. After officer training, I assigned as an operation officer in 769 Brigade up north in the border with Lebanon. And right after that, as an operation officer in the elite unit 212 called Maglan in Hebrew. And usually after you're finished and you get released from the army, you are assigned in a reserve unit. And I was assigned to 551 Commander Brigade, which is a very interesting brigade. As you can see, it's an elite paratrooper and special forces brigade that specializes in operations against valuable targets far behind the front lines. and fighting in deep in enemy territory to destroy targets and gather intelligence, and core missions with which this commander battalion is familiar. So on October, before I go further, after on October 7th, I send my commander a message saying what's going on. Is there anything we need to do? It was a complete shock for everybody. We didn't know what's going to happen. And just a note, after giving birth, usually mothers are not, they don't have to go to reserve anymore. So I serve as a volunteer. I don't have to be present, but I volunteer to. So right after October 7th, I send my commander that I'm, up for any help needed, of course. But hours later, my husband, which is a commander as well, he's an officer as well, got called from his unit. So I drove him to base, and I said, okay, he was based up north, and I had to tell my commander that he needs to put me on hold because someone needs to stay with the kids. So a whole month he was up north, and it was a really stressful month, staying home, no school for the kids, just stressed from the situation, very anxious. I didn't know where my husband was assigned, and I just keep on hearing that, there's a lot of rockets fired on the bases up north. So I was really anxious about what's happening up north and in the south. And after 1 month, he got released, and he came back home. And a day or two after he was back home, I told my commander said that if there's anything new, and if I'm available to help, then I need to call him because they need it. So I called him, of course, and he said, okay, we're waiting for you. Just come up, just come by to where we at. So I came, and I'm serving as an operation officer, as I said. It is called, so I'm assigned as a operation officer in a mobile command center, which is all IDF combat units has a mobile command center, which follows them wherever they go, or as close as possible when fighting, when they fight during the war or in operations. And as you can see in what I made here, I don't know if it makes any sense, but I tried. So in those mobile command centers, we have the operation center, which is the main body who directly communicates with the soldiers in the field, as well as facilitate and coordinates between the representative of the other arms of the IDF, such as intelligence, Air Force, medical, ICT, which is information, communication, and technology, artillery, and so on. And in support of the fighters to make sure that they have everything they need, every single thing, in order to complete to complete their missions. So it can be logistically food, even underwear, socks, everything, and even of course mainly operationally. It can be explosive equipment, night vision equipment, and so on. So this is the what we basically do. So, for example, one of the mission, of course, that we had is to find and track the Hamas tunnels. And once a tunnel is found, the soldier needs to scan it. And after gathering all the intelligence from the tunnel, if any, they need to destroy it. So Hamas can't use it anymore. So they need the explosive for that. And expectedly or not, we found so many tunnels, hundreds of tunnels every day, tens of tunnels. And of course, they needed so many explosives. They ran out of explosives so fast that we need to renew their explosives. So this is one of the mission, of course, to ship them as fast as possible so they can move on to clear the other areas in Gaza. Or for another example, we were informed that we have an injured soldier from an IED on the road, and we needed to act really fast once we knew how severely he was wounded. And we needed to coordinate an air evacuation. So together with the medical wing and the Air Force wing, we made sure that it is happening as fast as possible. But unfortunately, minutes later, the soldier, we informed that he died. So, and you need to understand those situations happens in minutes. You can make sure to evacuate soldiers in minutes. But the situation is so fragile that we need to make sure it's happening even if we don't sure what is going to happen. And unfortunately, he died. We had 17 events of the 17 dead soldiers from our unit during our 3 months in Gaza. And so this is one of the examples that we are dealing in the operations center. So it can be sometimes hours with nothing happening, and in second it can change so fast, unfortunately. So let's move. I hope that I explained what is the operation center. You can see in the picture, this is the operation center. You can see how many commanders and soldiers there's around the table to make sure that we're doing the right thing and to help the soldiers on the battle. So we had a few events during the time in Gaza. We had one mission is that we had intelligence that there's bodies of abductees, Israeli civilians abducted to Gaza. We knew that they are not alive. We knew that we were going after bodies. And we knew that they are in one of Hamas's tunnel system. And we had to scan the entire area. It took us days after days after days. But we were very determined, and we succeed. We managed to bring them home to burial. Eden Zacharia, she's the girl here. She was at the party in Nova. Elia Toledano, Ron Sherman, Ziv Dado, and Nick Beiser. So we were we were very privileged to get this mission done. You can see here on the right one of our units went to a Hamas official house, and they found suitcases with loads of money, 5 million Israeli shekels, which is $1.4 million. So now you can see where the money goes, and it's not for the Gazan civilians, not at all. I have a short video here. This is one of our unit findings. They found rockets underneath a bed, and grenade inside of a crib. Let me show you that really fast. So this is the door, baby girl. Let me just, and this is the bed. You can see the rockets underneath the bed. I don't know how somebody can sleep on this kind of bed. I don't know. That's unfortunately not a single time that this is the crib. You can see here on the right where they found weapons and grenades. And unfortunately, it happens many times to find explosives in houses that looks innocent, but when you dig in, you can see right that a lot of houses are not innocent, unfortunately. Another finding is in the Indonesian hospital. So it was a big operation in the Indonesian hospital. We knew that there is a lot of intelligence there that could help us determine what happened with some of the hostages. And they found, I'll show you just so you can witness. So this is the hospital, and they found an Israeli car belonged to a civilian, who got murdered during October 7th. This is the Nukhba car. Nukhba is a Hamas militant. So unfortunately, we had to go every house, every hospital, every school, a lot of schools with weapons. Like the next door next to a class, you can see that there is armory and rockets and rocket launchers and tunnels. It was like, I was even surprised. Like during the month that I was at home with my kids, you can see about all the tunnels that the IDF finds in Gaza. But once you're in the operation room and you're notified about every tunnel and every weapon, and I'm like, it's crazy. I'm like saying to myself, like, is there any meter there that isn't exploited by Hamas? So that was unfortunately one of the missions of the IDF, to clear Gaza from any Hamas uses and weapons and launchers, and to make sure that the civilians in Israel is safe. So I'm moving on to the next part, which is my family and how I handled the two. It was very challenging. And of course, knowing that I need to abandon my job, which is I'm in charge of social media, which is very important these days. So from safeguarding Israel in the international arena, I went to help the IDF to protect civilians. So I am privileged to do both. So I'm now back to work, and I'm working very hard to make sure that the international community sees what happens in Israel, and to make sure that they know what happens here. And how hard the IDF fights to protect the civilians in Gaza. I haven't mentioned it here, but we had a lot of times where we had to protect civilians, to help them to go south, to go to safe places. There's even stuff that I can't share, but I can definitely tell you that the IDF is very disturbed by how Hamas uses civilians as a shield. But they take it very seriously, and maybe one day it will go on to the media, but I witnessed it from first sight, how hard the IDF is working to protect lives of Israeli civilians and Gazan civilians, and I hope the world sees this as well, see that as well. So this is my kid. Ivri is 6 and Geffen is 4. They had a really hard time to understand why mom go to the army, why mommy is a soldier now, and when she's back, and if she's back, when she's going back to the base. And every time they see me on a uniform, they were crying like, "Mommy, don't go, mommy, don't go." And it was very challenging, but I knew that I had to do what I need to do what I need to do. And you don't really know how much they know, even when you try to protect them and, you know, cover them and surround them with, you don't want them to know everything about the war. But he is going to first grade, and in first grade they're integrated with bigger kids, and maybe they hear more from them. So sometimes you need to explain them, and not to hope that they don't know that much, because they know so much. The question that he questioned me, I was like so surprised how mature was his questions. And he asked me, for an instance, "Mommy, if Gaza is so far away and the war is in Gaza, because we're in Jerusalem and we didn't have as much as alarms and sirens as people in the south." And he said, "So if Gaza is so far, why there's soldiers everywhere? Why they need to be here? Why they're not there in Gaza?" And it's like something that you try to answer them, and to not worry them as much. And this is a picture, a drawing that he drew for me, and it actually says, "Mommy, don't die." So that was very an emotional picture that he drew to me, because I didn't know that he thinks that I'm going to battle. And that's one of the reasons that I didn't took a weapon with me home, because usually when you go to a reservist and you're in a commander unit, you have to take guns with you. So I decided not to. And I took pictures of the operation room, and I explained them that I'm not going to Gaza, that I'm the one who speaks with the soldiers on the field, and I'll make sure that they have food, and that they have that the cars are working, and that they have enough, that they have where to sleep. And once I explained it to him, he was pleased. I think it was more calm after I explained him exactly what I'm doing, and show him how strong the IDF. There's a lot of YouTube videos, and I showed him that we're very strong, and he has nothing to worry, that I'm helping them, and that I'm coming back home to him to see him. So that's pictures from where we celebrated Hanukkah in the base and when I was visited home. And on picture number 3, you can see that I'm holding a heater, which was generously donated by JJ. So we are in a tent, and it's very cold during the winter, and we had a lot of rain, and you know, you're 24/7 in the tent, and you can't go to sleep, and you don't have air conditions, and so we were freezing at night, and and JJ donated a lot of heaters to keep us warm, and so we can keep on going and be in our in our how can I say it, to be in our best position and not freezing. And this was picture number 4. Was actually the last day that our unit was in Gaza. We packed everything inside, but unlike usual operation where we even packing the tents, we were told that don't be too eager to leave, because the tent is safe. We don't know what happens. We don't know where we'll be called back. So we're leaving the tent, but take every, because there is a lot of information and intelligence and a lot of sensitive equipment there. So we had to pack everything there, and to be prepared for anything that might come. So I was released on January 12th, and on January 13th, I went back to work to JJ, and that was the day that we went south to the area where that got invaded by Hamas terrorists. So we went to Kfar Aza, and we went to the party area. It's called Reim Nova Festival. It was next to Reim Kibbutz Reim and Kibbutz Kfar Aza. And you can see here, it was surreal, like to walk there. But I don't know how many of you visited kibbutz before, but usually they have the student village, which is very peaceful area with young people having fun time, relaxed, and to walk near those sceneries and to imagine what happens there, it was like, I don't know, I didn't know how to comprehend what I'm seeing, like to imagine what I'm seeing there. It was so hard to even think about the moment that went through on October 7th. You can see here on picture number 4 that they were targeting the safe rooms. Those are windows that belong to the safe rooms. They knew that people are hiding there. They were fired RPGs and grenades towards the safe room in order to kill whoever is in there. You can see here, let me show you real fast. It's just so you can comprehend what we were seeing there. It was a war zone. It was a complete war zone. Everything is ruined. Everything is you can see like ricochets all over the place. You can see the bullets inside of the walls. And this is a student village. Like, it's supposed to be vivid, and it was all full of destruction. And one of the main and impactful tours that we had to Mayan's room, and you can see what Zaka member told us what happened there.
So we're here at the dorm of the Sivan. Sivan used to live here with her boyfriend all. And the parents, they decided to make this unit into a kind of a memorial or a museum. I'm from Zaka, and when we came in, we saw this. It says here that there are human remains on the sofa, so we knew that that there was somebody who had been murdered here. And when Zaka, when they're done, what we did is we do this sign so people knew that we were done, or we would put up this sticker to say that this house is clear from body remains, human remains, and blood. So it's in the house of the Sivan and Naol. It was the Sivan's apartment. A young couple who were killed here, brutally killed. She was violated sexually before she was killed. He was killed in the safe room in the mamad. He was firstly injured, and then the terrorist came into the mamad after Naol was hurt, and they dragged Sivan out here on the sofa, and eventually they killed her here. We have here on the wall the last conversation that both Sivan and Naol were writing to their father. Each one, this is Sivan's father, in green it's the father, and Sivan is the white, and she's asking on top, the top line is that she's telling them to lock their doors and the windows. And she says that there might be an invasion of the terrorists in the area. She's asking again, did you close everything? Did you lock everything? We can hear shotguns. What's going on? She's asking. And he answers, oh, the army, our military are on the terrorists. He's answering, because they thought that the shooting was our people dealing with the terrorists, which was not, of course, didn't happen at that time, or at least they are surrounding them. And then she, at 11, she's asking Dad, and he says, thank God. And she asks again, please tell me that everyone is okay, that the Sagid, the brother, Noah, sister, that they're okay. And then she says, well, we are hiding in the safe room. They were in my window, she's saying, which means that the terrorists, she could see them from this window and from the window in the safe room. And then she said, we are under the bed, me and Naol. And then she asked again, is everybody okay? And then he answers, we are okay, everybody. Can you hear the soldiers, he's asking. This is 11:12. There were no soldiers, or even if there were, they were quickly killed. Please tell me where you are, and she sends where she is. And then he's saying, are there any soldiers, which means the Israeli army, are they in your neighborhood? And he asks Sivan, she doesn't. And this is what Naol was writing with his parents. He's asking Shimon, what's going on? And father says, everything is okay. We are in the safe room. We are worried about you. He's asking again now. So what's going on outside? They're shooting at the house. They can hear it. And he's saying, army soldiers, the Israeli army. As Naol, and if you can see, there's only one which we never received this. So we're here at.
Oh, sorry. So you can see from Zaka firsthand. Zaka is the people who are handled body remains, so they could bring him into burials, bring them to burials, and you can see in the room of Sivan and Naor the ricochets from the firing at the house. It is very hard to see. You walking there, and it's so hard to see and watch everything. Everything is under destroyed. Everything destroyed completely. And we were there, and there was a young boy, and we heard them from like one. Not all the rooms are open for to visit, to walk in. Only Sivan's parents allowed visitors in as a memorial. And there's one student, we hear him from the door next door, and said, "Yeah, I found it. I'm like, we were like, what happening? What is happening? And then we come by, and he said, "I found the remote control of my Sony." And we were like, do you live here? Did you live here? And he said, "Yes, this is my room." And he told us that he wasn't there on October 7th, but his dog was there. And he came back on October 8th, where there's still terrorists in Kfar Aza, to take his dog, to save his dog. And he found his dog hiding underneath his bed, which was all ruined. He let us in, and he was so thrilled to find his Sony and Sony remote, and to see how people just want their life back. So that was on Kfar Aza. I believe that people are not allowed anymore in Kfar Aza. They try to rebuild the kibbutz, and we moved on to the Nova Festival area. You can see it here. Let's try again. It's a memorial where the party took place. All the young people who got murdered in the party. You can see their picture, beautiful kids, beautiful people, just went to a party and died in a horrific way. And to see all the faces in a form that resembles a party, like you're dancing and everybody is around you, and they're not here anymore. So it was very strong, and the families come here and to do a memorials for their loved ones. And Gal, the lawyer in the legal aid department, he found a picture of his friend Sefi that was murdered on the Nova Festival, and it was very emotional. He lit a candle underneath his pictures and say a goodbye to him. But there was so hard things to comprehend. Flavia went there last week, and she got to see all the cars. Flavia, do you want to talk about the cars?
Yes, so I was there where Nofar mentioned the Nova Festival, and I drove from there to the site where the burned cars that from the victims are deposited, and later they're buried. So Hamas terrorists murdered many victims in their cars, opening fire on them with the machine guns, and everybody tried to flee everywhere. The Nova Musical Festival was the main site where 4,000 people were. So, and as Lydia said, 364 murdered. many of them ran to their cars. So the drivers tried to peel in as many passengers as they could. And unfortunately, many were killed in their cars and chased by Hamas like prey. In many cases, they set the cars on fire and threw at them grenades and caused a lot of victims, and many died alive, burned. So thousands of cars were found on the sides of the roads after this massacre, with some upside down, some with bullets. So Zaka and like we as Jewish people, we don't allow any human remains to be left behind. So these cars were peeled in certain areas. So I got to drive to an area where there was a pile of burned cars, and you can see in the pictures there. And these cars are supposed to be buried afterwards. So there's a picture here also of one of the Hamas cars, the tenders, where they drove all over the country and all over the south and killed many people. So when I was there and saw these piles of cars, it really brought memories to me, pictures of the Holocaust, in which you see huge piles of clothing and shoes from those that were murdered by the Nazis. And so it's a sobering picture. It's saddening, it's shocking. And I could only think to say, again, the Jewish prayer for the dead, the Kaddish. And we all, at least some of us, said after the Holocaust, we said, never again. So I'm wondering if it's possible, is it possible that we say it again, never again? Does it really mean anything, or is it just a hashtag? I want to say never again, and it be true, not a hashtag.
Thank you, Flavia.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, thank you.
It's. Yeah, it was
Thank
a
you,
very
Flavia.
hard experience for all of us, and I think it's very important for us, and I was very touched by Nofar's testimony. It's the first time actually we hear it in this way, as a full comment, in a full sense of what she went through with the soldiers and with the army. So it was for me again another rehashing in an important way of this subject, especially for us.
We have time for a few questions, maybe two. We had somebody earlier ask if we would be sharing a link to this webinar when it's over. We will. Please check your emails. We will be sending that to you. We had comments, Nofar, people thanking you for your service. We thank you for your service.
And thank you for supporting me and my family during the time that I was there. It means a lot to me.
If you have a question, I will wait about 30 seconds for you to type it and send it to us. As we conclude today, your time, if you are in the US, thank you so much for joining us. We're grateful for your presence. The stories shared we hope they have been impactful, and that they offer a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by Israelis, the soldiers, the families, the moms, the kids even. And as we reflect on the courage and the resilience and the sacrifices shared, I am compelled to ask you to join us and make an impact. Your support will contribute to the work of the Jerusalem Institute of Justice, bringing change, advocating for justice, and supporting Israel and those who face the harsh realities of war. Please visit our donation page. The link is here on your screen. JIJ.org. It's very easy to go. You can check out there if you want to advocate for Israel, if you want to know how to combat anti-Semitism, apartheid claims, BDS. Our website is full of materials. We do have several thank yous. And Nofar, this is a difficult question, but I'm going to pass it to you. Can you please share any thoughts about the remaining hostages?
I'll say it personally, not from I'm not military expertise, and since I'm no longer in the operation room, I don't know what is happening and what's the plans. But I think we need to bring them home as fast as possible, as soon as possible. We see how cynical and like beast Hamas can be, and how they use our hostages, psychologically playing with our minds. But we need to bring them home. This is our duty. We need to do everything possible to bring them home. They need to be home. So I hope that everything, and I know that everything that the IDF is doing is to make sure that we will find them and bring them home. And we hope that the government is doing their best to bring them home in their diplomatic ways. It's a deal with Satan. We can't get them back without. We lost so many soldiers. We will probably lose more, and it's a high. The payment is high. I don't know how to call it, but we need to exchange them with murderers, with people with I don't know what to call them people, but they're murderers with blood on their hands, and they're in prison in Israel. And in order to release our hostages, we need to release thousands of them, and then fight them again. Because they're not going home to their lives and to try to rehabilitate their lives. They're going after Jews and Israeli civilians, and Arabs, Christians, Jews as one. They don't distinguish between a Muslim or a Jew, as we witnessed on October 7th. And I think we need to do everything to bring them home.
Thank you, Nafar. Again, thank you for taking part in our webinar this evening. We wish you the rest of a wonderful day. Thank you.